Tiger Woods is seriously injured in a car crash. OU Health Services teams up with Emmy Labs to deliver COVID vaccines, and the U.S. Senate discusses the January 6 Capitol riots. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Audrey Goodson.
And I'm Shannon Ehrhardt. We begin tonight with breaking news, a car wreck involving golfing legend Tiger Woods. At 7:15 this morning, emergency crews found Tiger inside a car, and they say it's evident there was a single vehicle rollover car crash. We also know Tiger is in surgery right now. Doctors say he has multiple leg injuries with a compound fracture in at least one leg. They do say his injuries are not life-threatening. Investigators are still determining what caused this crash. This is the second time Tiger Woods has been in a significant car wreck.
And another breaking story right now, we know that 4 members of the Board for the Electric Reliability of Council of Texas have just resigned. The group known as Ehrhardt is under fire after the catastrophic energy blackouts during last week's winter storm. The 4 leaders quit one day before state lawmakers in Texas are set to begin hearings on the state's power grid collapse.
OU students, staff, and faculty are receiving COVID vaccines at Goddard Health Center right now. A new priority group is eligible for the vaccination, which includes Oklahomans with comorbidities and teachers or staff in pre-K educational settings. Goddard offered new signups for the new group and is currently at capacity for this week. Patients say the longest part of the vaccination process is the 15-minute wait after receiving the dose. One OU student works for Norman Public Schools and is excited about getting the vaccine at Goddard Health Services.
It's valid to be nervous, but I think that if you're doing something good for your community, there's no sense in not doing it.
Over 600,000 Oklahomans have received a dose of the COVID vaccine, and its availability is first come, first serve for those who meet the Phase 2 qualifications.
And as the number of people vaccinated grows, the number of cases in Oklahoma is dropping. The Oklahoma State Department of Health reports 359 new cases, bringing the total number of active cases in Oklahoma to just over 14,000. There are 24 new reported deaths today, bringing the total number of deaths due to COVID to 4,277. Officials say the low number of cases could be attributed to the extreme winter weather last week and fewer people getting tested.
And after some crazy weather hit Texas last week, President Biden travels to Houston. Deyton has that story in the rest of today's national headlines.
Thanks, Shannon. Today, the Senate holds the first public meeting regarding the security failures of the January 6th Capitol riots. Many key topics were covered, including the nature of the attack, intelligence of the attack, and the approval of the National Guard. Capitol Police Captain Carnisha Mendoza was among the first responders and stated that she is still recovering from chemical burns on her face from that day. Today, the Senate confirmed Tom Vilsack as President Biden's Agriculture Secretary by a 92-7 vote. Senator Bernie Sanders was one of the few to vote against the confirmation of Vilsack. During the hearing, Vilsack emphasized the need for USDA and agriculture sector to slow the effects of climate change. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki announced today that President Joe Biden will be making a trip to Houston on Friday following last week's winter storm. The storm caused billions of dollars of damage across Texas. Biden will be discussing relief efforts and the next steps to recovery for the people of Houston. Details of the trip are still being put together, but the White House will announce more information when finalized. In other news, after some investigating, damage to the fan blade of the United Airlines Boeing 777 is consistent with metal fatigue, according to a preliminary assessment. Over the weekend, the engine failed and shed parts over a Denver suburb. That's all for now. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Deyton. And the Big 12 isn't all about sports. This time, it's about student leadership. McKenzie Gladney gives us more details.
Student leaders and members are on Capitol Hill virtually discussing issues of importance to OU's campus. Big 12 on the Hill is a yearly conference for Big 12 schools to visit Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. This year, the conference is virtual, but SGA leaders are still advocating for students. The issues on the agenda are minimum wage, food insecurity, equity in education, Title IX policies, and international student issues.
I think these issues that we've been talking about on the Hill specifically, they highlight important needs, not just for college students, but with a college student mindset at the focus and at the center of it.
One of the biggest issues SGA discussed is the Mental Health Justice Act. This would award grants to states to hire, employ, and dispatch mental health professionals in an emergency mental health crisis.
Having that extra security of knowing that a person who is trained in this specific way to deal with these specific problems, I think is important. And I think it's necessary. On our campus, we are striving to hire more professionals in Goddard, but just realizing that we need more.
The student leaders will continue to meet with the Oklahoma delegation, congressional members, education committees, and members representing other Big 12 universities. These leaders have been in and out of meetings all day, and they do feel like their voices are being heard. We will continue to give you updates when they come in. But for now, reporting live, McKenzie, Gladney, OU Nightly.
Thanks, McKenzie. And after last week's cold temperatures, I'm sure happy that the sunshine is out. It felt great today. Megan Gold is out live with us to tell us more about the weather.
Good afternoon, Audrey and Shannon. I'm live from the third floor balcony of Gaylord College, and if you're anything like me, you've been tired of being stuck inside with those cold temperatures and the snow that we saw last week. Well, today is your day to get outside and get some vitamin D. Sunshine is in full effect. Temperatures across the state are in the 70s. We are dealing with a little bit of wind, gusting as strong as 20 miles an hour in some places, but nonetheless, one of the most beautiful days you are going to see this week. A cold front is going to come through overnight tonight, and temperatures will steadily decline as we go throughout the rest of the week. We even have rain chances on the way, so you're going to want to get outside and enjoy this beautiful weather. Colton Williams has more coming up in his full forecast. Guys.
Well, thanks, Megan. I'm sure happy to have a little bit more sunshine these next few days. Me too. But if you're noticing that MacBook products are operating a little slower than usual, there may be a reason behind it. Apple discovers a new type of software virus spreading throughout the U.S. and UK.
Plus, an Oklahoma soldier's legacy is being remembered for losing his life in battle. Find out how next on OU Nightly.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. There's word that Johnson & Johnson plans for approval of the first single-dose COVID vaccine in the U.S. Emma tells us about this plan and more.
Vaccine advisors plan to meet this Friday to discuss approving Johnson & Johnson's COVID vaccine for emergency use. The vaccine is the third under consideration for use in the U.S. and will be the first single-dose COVID shot available here. If approved, the company plans to begin shipping immediately, with hopes to deliver enough doses of the vaccine by the end of March to vaccinate more than 20 million Americans. Another member of Jeff Bezos' inner circle has announced his departure from Amazon today. Jeff Blackburn, the senior vice president of business development, announced today that he will be leaving the company. The news comes 3 weeks after Jeff Bezos announced he will be stepping down as CEO and become executive chairman. In a memo to employees, Blackburn said this is not an announcement about him retiring and that we can expect to see him working on projects in the future. Apple's newest computers are being targeted by a new type of malware. The malware, called the Silver Sparrow, specifically targets Apple computers with the new M1 chips. So far, nearly 30,000 injections have been detected in the U.S. and the UK. Security researchers have yet to observe the Silver Sparrow actually doing anything harmful, but do caution that users repeatedly update their computers. And today in Oklahoma City, a miracle puppy was born with 6 legs and 2 tails. The puppy, named Silver Little Skipper, is believed to be the first dog with 6 legs born alive. Back to you at the desk.
Emma, that's amazing. You know, if that puppy has 6 legs, that's just more puppy to love on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome to hear.
Well, we have one more week of celebrating Black History Month. OU Nightly's Grace Whitten spoke with the son of an Oklahoma hero who made U.S. history and helped pave the way for Black soldiers.
I know that I missed out on something very, very, very special in who he was as a human being.
Mark Pitts fondly remembers his father, who died in the Vietnam War when Mark was a young boy.
He was the really that kind of guiding light of the family.
Mark was just 4 years old when Captain Riley Leroy Pitts gave his life as a war hero.
He said, "Your daddy's dead." I said, "No, my dad is in Vietnam."
On that fatal day in Vietnam, Oklahoman Captain Pitts was leading his company to reinforce a sister unit.
He was really, fighting hard to get his men freed up. He took a grenade that they had taken from a captured person or something, threw it, and it hit, jungle foliage and bounced back, and then he jumped on it.
The captain saved his men from a grenade and continued fighting before losing his life in battle.
I don't think he was trying to be a hero. I think he was just doing himself. He was just being who he was.
The captain's bravery led the Pitts family to the Oval Office to meet with President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968 and was honored by becoming the first African-American officer ever to receive the Medal of Honor. A man of courage and inspiration, 30-year-old Captain Riley Pitts paid a price at a young age, but his family says his legacy will live forever. Grace Whitten, Gaylord News.
Oklahoma has honored Captain Pitts' name with a park in Oklahoma City, a classroom at Douglas High School, and a facility at Fort Sill.
And between the winter storm and warm weather, OU's campus looks different this time of year. And Mother Nature has been a little slow with granting the campus its usual blooming flowers.
So, Colton, should we expect this warm weather to stick around long enough for them to bloom?
Well, we've got a lot of sunshine out there today, but talking about warm weather continuing, we'll see. We'll have that all coming up next. All right, welcome back to OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us. I'm Colton Williams. We're taking a look now. Temperatures across the state. Hey, it's a gorgeous day out there today. Feels much better than it did this time yesterday. And well, it's a much welcome change. 73 now here in the metro. Take a look at this. Lawton and Ardmore, they're approaching 80 degrees this afternoon. Some places still hovering in the upper 60s, but hey, all in all, it's a gorgeous day out there. Lots of sunshine going on, a breezy south wind, so it feels really, really good as you get outside this afternoon. Into this evening, still going to feel pretty good. 57, upper 50s as you head throughout this evening. Well, again, that south breeze, it'll calm down just a bit. Clear skies as you head into the midnight hour this evening. But hey, got a little bit of a change coming. So here the red lines now are winds out of the south. The numbers are temperatures as we head into the evening. This evening, a cold front going to push through. You see it now around 2 a.m. lining up down the I-44 corridor. Wind's going to come out of the north now. And as we continue into tomorrow, temperatures going to be pushed down into the 40s and 50s. Winds once again breezy out of the north tomorrow evening. And so lows tonight statewide going to be in the 40s, 30s, upper 20s for our friends in the Panhandle, but still, even with this cold front, a little bit above average here in the central part of Oklahoma. So I'd say we're doing pretty good. Tomorrow, highs tomorrow statewide, 56 here in Norman, low 60s for some folks, middle 50s and lower 50s, upper 40s for our friends in the north tomorrow. So again, a pattern change is on the way. Spring is really beginning to set up here as we head into the later parts of this week and really for the foreseeable future now. So talking about Thursday, cold front will again push through. Small chance of snow for our friends out into the Panhandle, but then as we continue once again throughout the rest of the week into Friday, Saturday, and now into Sunday, showers going to begin to set up here southeastern and central Oklahoma. These areas will change a bit, but at the moment, this is sort of what we think as far as where we're going to be seeing rainfall. So Thursday, rain chances talking about 40% for southern southeastern Oklahoma. Again, chance of snow up in the Panhandle, but 20 as we're here in the central portion of the state, 60 as we head into Sunday for the remainder of the state. So again, setting up now in the 8 to 14 day outlook now, spring is on the way, warmer temperatures for much of the country as we head throughout the next few 8 to 14 days. And then as we head into this weekend and throughout next week, 50s and 60s stick around. So I'd say we're doing pretty good. Ladies, back to you.
Thanks, Colton. Well, I'm looking forward to that warm weather. I don't know about everybody else in Oklahoma, but as of now, we're all familiar with the South Oval's flower display when we see the weather warm up. But lately, things have looked a little different. Large plastic tarps have covered the soil for the majority of the school year, and many on OU's campus are wondering when we'll see those flowers bloom. OU's landscaping and maintenance directors have been difficult to get a hold of since the winter storm hit last week. However, after speaking to a few members of the landscaping crew today, we did learn that the plastic tarps are used for soil solarization. This is a gardening technique used to essentially heat the soil in the sun in order to kill the weeds and pests. We can expect to see the flowers planted about 2 weeks from now.
And with 3 games left in the regular season, OU men's basketball team takes on K-State tonight. Michael, can they pull out the win?
I think they have a good chance tonight. I'll talk about that and other Big 12 news, including Athlete of the Week awards and more coming up next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. It's time for sports. The Red River Showdown is back for this season. After the game was initially postponed due to COVID, the Longhorns and Sooners have rescheduled their next match up for March 4th in Norman. This will be an important game as both teams will enter Lloyd Noble, ranked in the top 15. The Sooners are back in action tonight on the hardwood in Manhattan. After pulling out a win in Ames, Iowa State, against Iowa State, Lon Kruger will turn his team's attention to the Kansas State Wildcats. It will be important for the Sooners to take care of business tonight and not fall into a trap game looking forward to Bedlam this weekend. The OU baseball season is off and running. The Sooners open the year with a 7 games and 8 days slate. OU will face off against Stephen F. Austin tonight after the 2 teams matched up last year in the Sooners' final game of the 2020 season. A big week for Sooner athletes is 3-win Big 12 Athlete of the Week awards. After a big win against OSU, Justin Thomas became the 5th Sooner wrestler ever to win multiple Player of the Week honors. On the tennis court, Van Imberg won his first ranked match of the season before sweeping Tulsa in a doubles match with teammate Mad Rodriguez. Last but not least, Carmen Corley, who trailed 5-0 in a match in Kansas before she made her big comeback for the win. The heat was too much for the Thunder last night. The Thunder came out strong against the Heat with 18 first-half points by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Miami climbed their way back in the game in the fourth quarter, though, with a 15-0 run. The 2020 Eastern Conference champions were too much for the Thunder as they fall to 12-19 on the season. The Minnesota Timberwolves are a mess on and off the court. The Timberwolves this week fired Coach Ryan Saunders before hiring Chris Finch away from the Toronto Raptors within hours of Saunders' release. Since Finch's hire, many have questioned Minnesota's hiring process. Hardly ever are coaches hired from different teams mid-season, and many are upset about the lack of coaching search by the T-Wolves, as it appears that no minority coaches were considered for the job. After 27 games, the Houston Rockets have released DeMarcus Cousins. The one-time All-Star center will look to rebound with a new team for the 2021 season. Rumors have already floated of a Lakers reunion for Cousins, where he last played last season in their NBA championship run. More change is on the way for the Washington football team. After changing the team's name in 2020, the Washington football team today has teased another name change for the 2021 season. Washington made the playoffs last year after a bounce-back season thanks to rookie Chase Young. Athletes and coaches all over sent out messages for support for Tiger Woods after the news of his crash. This includes Baker Mayfield, Lincoln Riley, Alex Rodriguez, Justin Thomas, and others, as more information is being gathered on and released on Woods.
Well, thanks, Michael, and we'll have another update on Tiger Woods later. But for now, despite the pandemic, there still are fun ways to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
And one classic board game is making the holiday a little sweeter this year.
I'm Noah Mack at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Congress is expecting a major increase in COVID vaccine doses over the next month. Pfizer and Moderna said they'd provide the U.S. government with 220 million doses by the end of March. The companies believe there will be enough vaccines for most Americans to get inoculated by the end of the summer. The Senate confirmed Tom Vilsack as President Biden's Agriculture Secretary. Vilsack served the same position under Obama's cabinet.
And with St. Patrick's Day in less than a month, Candyland is offering a magical new way to celebrate. The makers of Candyland are teaming up with Lucky Charms to create an updated version of the classic childhood game.
The goal is to catch Lucky the leprechaun as he scampers off with his Lucky Charms. Plus, Lucky is coming up with his own special cereal to go along with the game. So hey, Audrey, if you're feeling lucky this St. Patrick's Day, go snag a box from the cereal's online shop.
I am feeling lucky.
I am too, but Colton, are we feeling lucky about the weather?
I would say so, especially compared to last week. Look at our 7-day forecast now, talking about upper 50s and even a couple 60s as we head into this weekend and into next week. Still some showers and thunderstorms popping up as we continue into the later part of the weekend. But with that, yeah, I'd say we're very lucky. So ladies, back to you.
Thanks, Colton. Well, also thank you for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord Camp College of Journalism and Mass Communication on the campus of the University of Oklahoma.
Good night.